So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Undrafted Opinions. This is episode 5?
Sounds about right.
5-ish, something like that. Undrafted Opinions is where me and him talk about our undrafted opinions on sports and give you another lens on the worldwide of news on sports.
That was a long way around there.
Oh my god. Jesus Christ. But if you didn't know, this is the College Avenue channel. Go ahead and like and share and subscribe. And also, if you're listening on the audio version, go ahead and like us and go ahead and hear us. And know that we both have audio version and a video version. So if you're like, oh, I want to listen just to audio, it's other way around. If you want to listen to video, you know what's up. Yes. As Jacob looks at me. And yes, never mind. We have a whole bunch of awesome topics that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about our kind of a review of the World Cup first round of games almost. Tomorrow's the next day. We're recording this on the 18th. So we kind of do this past week we didn't do a bi-weekly one, but this because we were totally busy this past weekend. But this week we should be able to do that. So yeah, we're going to cover all from the first game all the way to today's last game, which was England versus Tunisia. And then we're also going to talk about the Angels for a little bit, and then we have a couple of 2-minute minors, and then we're done. That's it.
Getting it out.
Yes. Just like Square Enix. No sports person is going to get that reference, but it's okay. Let's get into it. Let's go into the opening game. We had Russia versus Saudi Arabia, which is somewhat of a close game all the way up until the third? No, wait, no.
What game are you watching?
Like in the sense of like it was like 1-0, and then they didn't score until.
Then it was 2-0, and then it was 3-0,
yeah,
and then it was 4-0.
Yeah. I mean, I still wasn't impressed by Russia. Unfortunately, I think Saudi Arabia is just like. I don't. They ever have a participation award for this World Cup, so
I guess
they're probably gonna be like one of the worst teams, and probably maybe might score a goal. The only goal I think we'll see them score will be against Egypt.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So it was quick and swift at the very end because they scored 2 extra time goals at the end. So I was like. All right. I mean, you could have just had it at 2-0. I would have been like, oh, at least they tried. But like 5-0, I'm like, oh god, man, why do we have them here in a way? But
yeah, I know. It was just, it was definitely not the game that you. Well, I don't know. Going into it, it was definitely not the game that everyone wanted to kick off the World Cup with. The Saudi Arabia and Russia were the 2 lowest ranked teams, at least in the however much credibility you want to give to the FIFA rankings. They are the 2 lowest ranked teams going into the World Cup, so no one was really looking forward to this. But I didn't really feel it was a close match. There was no point where I really felt that Saudi Arabia were really in it.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think I had this game as a draw, but it ended because I didn't trust Russia either. Yeah. But, they put 5 on them. You can't really measure Russia against this game either because they're not playing. They played the worst team in their group. So
yeah, well, the worst team in general.
Yeah.
So, moving on, we're gonna see we have Egypt and Uruguay. Uruguay won at the very end, basically with a 1-0 without a Salah. Egypt, which is kind of impressive. That makes me have a little bit more faith. If they have that second element of Salah in there, I don't know if it would have been a big factor in this game, as big of a factor as a lot of people think, but I think it would have helped them offensively to. Maybe even try to have gotten a penalty shot or a set piece kind of goal.
Yeah,
that would have set it up. I think Salah would have helped with that sense. But I think Uruguay should have been disappointed with the result as well, with only a 1-0 victory. I think they should have probably had 1 or 2 more in them.
I definitely think that they know they can play better. It was good that they kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, goal difference.
Yeah. But I mean, they only got the 1 goal, obviously. As far as Salah missing, I guess the way that the game ended up playing out, it might have his presence might have impacted. They might have squeezed a draw, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to matter for the rest of the group. I don't think that Salah's presence is going to I feel like Egypt, as it is now, can already beat Russia and Saudi Arabia. So
yeah,
I don't know that it really matters anymore. Like,
well, I felt like
does.
maybe if they wanted to be like the first place team in this group to be the surprise first place team, I think this would have been the game to done it. But I think it's also first game jitters as well. So I think for Uruguay as well, I think they're going to get better and better as the tournament rolls on.
Yeah.
Then we got the group. This was Group B with Iran and Morocco playing first.
Yeah.
With Iran, like I don't know how. Like I was just frustrated throughout this whole game. I actually watched like front to back. I was just like. Morocco was fouled pretty well, and then also they just they weren't taking as many chances, or they just weren't successful in their chances. And Iran just all they needed was that one set piece, which got them over.
It was an own goal, right? Ended up being an own goal.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I think the guy, it was an own goal, but it would have been. I think he would if he wasn't even in that spot. I think the guy was right behind him, so he probably would have hit it in regardless. It's just unfortunate because Morocco is my dark horse pick in this tournament, and I'm hoping obviously they get a good result against Portugal, and hopefully they get a draw against Spain. But I mean, I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know.
I think it's a really big 3 points for Iran. It was. I think this was probably the most important game for both of these teams.
Yeah. With
Portugal and Spain being in the other group, so now for Iran, if they can squeak a draw against either Spain or Portugal, then they have an off chance anyway of ending up in that number two seed. So I think it was good for them. Obviously, really, I feel for the Moroccan defender that ended up with the own goal. That sucks.
Yeah,
hopefully, because really, that own goal probably already eliminated them.
Yeah.
So
we'll see when they play Portugal, but I don't know which team they play next. I think Spain plays Iran next.
Okay.
So. That gives them space because that Portugal game is going to be really important for them now. Really, it's do or die on that one for sure now. Next, we have the second game of that group, and that was Portugal it was really Cristiano Ronaldo versus Spain, but it was Portugal versus Spain, 3-3. We had a penalty in the 4th minute, and then...
Did we, though?
I mean, we did. Technically, we did.
The referee blew his whistle, but did we, though?
And then, Spain answered that back pretty quickly, and then
Diego Costa scored the first goal, I think.
And then Ronaldo had a De Gea, just I don't know what happened. That was just not very much De Gea at all. And then Spain took the lead, and then Ronaldo was like, "I'm Ronaldo," and then
Spain will really be the team here that are kicking themselves. I felt that it was a bit of a soft penalty. But definitely a challenge that should not have been made, even to put yourself into that situation. Spain came back from behind twice, and then they got those 2 goals from Nacho and Diego Costa just a couple minutes apart. And you're okay, Spain recovered here, 3-2, and then of course they give up that free kick, and Ronaldo does Ronaldo things. So Spain should have won this game multiple times.
Yeah.
Should have put this game away. So.
Yeah, the 2 PK mistakes definitely were big, I think. I think they were bigger than De Gea's, I think. Just more.
Yeah, maybe.
The penalty.
Sure.
I mean, like I said, you shouldn't have.
And it was PK that gave away the foul for the free kick.
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So it was both those.
I don't know. De Gea should 101 times out of 100, De Gea makes that save.
Yeah, exactly. That too. Yeah.
I don't really know what happened there. Just a little lapse in concentration, I guess. And Ronaldo scoring that free kick right at the very end, like we were talking about during with Iran Morocco. Cristiano Ronaldo held the door open for maybe to his own detriment.
For the other guy,
held the door open for Iran. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yep. So moving on, we got Group C, I think this is France and Australia. France barely won 2-1. You got a Pogba goal. No, that was an own goal apparently.
They changed it.
Yeah, they changed it.
The day after, I think, or the morning after.
So very much a close win. I think people should give Australia a lot more credit. I think they should have not underestimated Australia. I think Australia is a tough team. I think we've seen it last World Cup as well. They didn't just sit down and take it in that group that they were in last. But still, I think it's a first game jitters game for France, and I think they're going to get better as the tournament rolls on. But it's not that I wasn't too surprised, but I was I think I would have been like, oh, 2-1, okay, that makes sense. Australia's not a little, they're not cupcakes. No way, I feel.
I think Australia gets a little bit like short end of the stick because they don't really have to do much to qualify.
Yeah.
So no one really thinks much of them. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens like the next cycle, like when they're without Tim Cahill and
Jednak, I think.
Yeah.
From Aston Villa, I think he plays it.
So like it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward. But I think this game, France just had a hard time finding that last pass. I feel like they were struggling in the midfield, and so that was kind of the reasoning, like why they couldn't get anything going forward really. Like there was not the flow that we're used to seeing. Although we said the same thing when we talked about like the France-US game in the lead up to the World Cup. This is like it just felt like France couldn't get like that last pass together.
Yeah.
So we'll see how they make adjustments.
I think it'll probably be a midfield change, if anything. Because Matuidi didn't start. I thought it was kind of weird. I feel like he should be starting. Yeah. I don't know. It depends. It depends what they're gonna do next. I think they're playing. They're in Peru and Denmark, right? Or no? This is the one before.
Yeah.
My bad. It's They are in what group are they in?
They must have played early because I'm pretty sure Group D I think is Argentina, Iceland, Peru, Denmark.
Oh, okay. That must be Nigeria and Croatia then.
Okay.
Hopefully, I think
that's right. Yeah,
maybe
right.
We'll see. So moving on, we got Argentina versus Iceland, where we saw Messi. I mean, did he blow it? Okay. All right, he blew it. All right, he blew it, guys. That's confirmed. He blew it, unfortunately. Well, yeah, they had a penalty shot at the end, towards the end of the game, and unfortunately, he did not lead
something that's
to a late victory.
I feel like the more this happens, or Messi misses a penalty. I remember it was last year in the Champions League against City when he missed the game that we beat them at the Etihad. He missed a penalty in that game. Joe Hart saved. Oh no, it wouldn't have been last year. Anyway, he misses. It seems like he misses the big penalties now more often than he makes them. I don't know. Kind of just a weird
psychological
wrinkle in his game where like he's missed. I really don't understand the amount of times this has happened. Why he's still the primary penalty taker.
I thought Aguero should have took that anyways.
There are probably 3 or 4 people on the field, but the statistics would show. Where
I would say that because Aguero was the one that got the penalty.
Yeah.
So.
And he's the one he scored the first goal as well too.
Yeah.
So, like,
then I think he usually takes the penalties for City anyways. And he's pretty accurate. He's pretty accurate.
Yes. So, I mean, Argentina will probably be able to recover, because they're good enough, obviously, to beat anyone in their group.
Mm-hmm.
But missing that penalty was there. I think it was Diego Maradona came out saying like, "Oh yeah, like I missed 5 penalties or whatever, like in World Cups." And I was like, "Yeah, but you won a World Cup." Like, so you can talk about all the things that you messed up on throughout your whole career, but like Messi's still chasing that.
Yeah.
Like, this is the last trophy that he doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Argentina could really end up regretting him still being on penalty. Like that penalty could be either like they finish second and they're in trouble in the next round.
Yeah. Because
they get a tough draw. Or I mean they could recover from it, but
yeah.
Definitely sounds Argentina should have won this game.
Agreed. Give me a sec. I'm gonna pull up. I'm just like
you're gonna look up what the next matchup's gonna be.
No. I want to look up the group still table. There we go. Just in case, so we know where we're on track. Okay, all right. So we are in.
So we had the next game was Denmark versus Peru.
Yes, Denmark versus Peru. I didn't watch the whole game. I only watched snippets of it, like live, and then I watched the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw like the goal. That's all I really remember. That was really memorable. This was kind of like one of the ones you forgot about that happened that day because everyone was talking about Messi.
Yeah, I guess the stats were leaning pretty heavily in favor of Peru. Just like looking at the game after the fact. I mean, they had more shots. They had more shots on target. They had more corners. And Peru was the team. So, like, you had Morocco as your dark horse. I think Peru was the team that I thought had a chance to make it a couple rounds in. This is like a really big setback for them. And they're going to have to get another result. So they had 2 draws against Argentina in qualifying. Like, they're really going to they're going to need another one probably in the World Cup here.
Because they got
to recover to give them a chance when they play Iceland to squeak into the knockout stages. So I was pretty disappointed for Peru that they didn't get the win here. I think that they're a better team than Denmark. Obviously, fair play to Denmark getting that goal, but I really want to see Peru bounce back.
We'll see, because they still have Australia. I would say getting a draw against France is like their best case, I feel. But and then you have to get a lot of goals against Australia to hopefully get that goal difference, just in case France beats Denmark, and you get a draw with Australia and Denmark to help them out. That's like their best case scenario at the moment.
Yeah.
Moving on, we got Croatia, Nigeria finishing off. I think this is the Argentina group. You had Croatia. I think they got by. I think Nigeria wasn't just like someone that just stood there. They just like wrong place, wrong time. And what benefited Croatia was just like they played smart. I feel like they played smarter.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I think Croatia probably will be maybe the top team out of this group. If they get a good, obviously all they have is Iceland after this, and then all they have to do is play Argentina really well, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, with Argentina dropping points against Iceland, they're like they really don't need a result against Argentina anymore. Like they can afford to lose that game, and still come in worst case scenario, come in second. I think it was a very, I guess the term is just like a professional win. Yeah, it was just like they went out there. They were very well organized. We talked in our previews of the World Cup about how good of a midfield that team has. With like Modric and Perisic and Brozovic and all these people who are important pieces for their clubs that all play midfield together for Croatia, and it just showed. They dominated the game from the midfield. They got their goal. Their head coach brought on Brozovic so that they could push Modric forward into more of a number 10.
One thing I really noticed is like in Nigeria's like first touches were they just gave the ball up really fast. Yeah, that was just like it's just really sloppy play. That was like what I think that really beat them, and then obviously Croatia just being smart.
Yeah, I think one standout for me on the Nigerian side was their goalkeeper. I do not remember his name, and I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce it, but he's only 19.
Yeah, he plays.
There was really nothing that he could have done, I think, for either of the 2 goals, and I think otherwise he did well on corners, like clearing the ball on corners and getting good punches and stuff like that. So I was pretty impressed with him.
Good. All right, moving on. We got the next day, which was Sunday, which was yesterday. We got Costa Rica, Serbia with a awesome free kick from Kolarov.
Something that I'm a little bit used to seeing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have Costa Rica winning this group. I think we both did, actually. Or getting out of this group. But it might not look like that way. Yeah. Because Serbia got the 3 points. Yep. Plus, they're in this group, right, with Germany, right? No, never mind. They're in Brazil. Yeah. Switzerland. So, like, Serbia just needs a good, another, probably even just a draw or a win. And then they might not even. Depends on the Switzerland.
It depends on
Costa Rica and how that goes. Yeah. If that's a draw, then they're in the driver's seat for sure. Yeah. Because even with the Brazil drawing, so. But anyways, this game was an earlier game. I just watched the highlights because it was just like
it's too early.
Yeah, that was too early. I was kind of impressed. I didn't realize how other players that Serbia has. I looked at their lineup. I was like, oh, I forgot you're alive. But yeah, I think it was a good win. They just need to continue playing smart like they did this game.
Right. Yeah, I think the game against Switzerland will be really big for them if they can just play the way that they did against Costa Rica. Nice, organized defensively. I think that they should be in at least second pretty easily.
Yeah, I think all you need to do is get another set piece. Just have the ball, like when you're getting a set piece, just have it to where Kolarov can just have it, hit it on his left foot, get it in.
And you're good to
That's
go.
it, yeah.
That's all you need.
Next, we got one of the biggest upsets this weekend was Germany versus Mexico. I don't know what happened in this game, man. Just like the counterattacks and just what happened to the shape. And I get that Germany had like, I'm not too sure what the possession stats were, but I know definitely they were ahead. I'm just like, where's like the experience on that? Like on getting counterattacked. It seemed like maybe they were too cocky or something.
I don't remember ever seeing Germany this disorganized.
Yeah.
It was like all 11 people on the field were playing like a different game.
Mm.
Like they were playing their own little game. There was no organization. There was no communication. The Mexican midfield completely dominated the German midfield. It was, I don't know, it's probably the worst I've ever seen Germany in recent memory.
Yeah.
And Mexico got their goal, which probably guarantees them getting through, because obviously the other two games are going to be a lot easier for them. I mean, good for them. But Germany, I think so we talked in the preview, like there's never been like the people that won the World Cup. I think it was like the last 3 World Cup winners didn't make it out of the group stages of the next World Cup. And then there was another stat that I saw.
The Confederations Cup one?
Yeah, where like no one that's ever won the Confederations Cup has won the World Cup the next year. So it's looking like that might be true.
Well, I think they just need to make a couple of changes. I think what they're missing is pace, and I was really looking at their lineup. I think not taking Sane, and like he could have came off the bench and like really disrupted the Mexican backline if they would have brought him. I'm not saying like there's nothing wrong with Royce, but I feel like Sane just brings like a different element than some of the players on that lineup. Yeah, he just adds that extra energy that teams are just like, whoa, dude, slow down.
Yeah. I think that Germany can obviously, like, they could play great in their next 2 games. I kind of feel like what's going to happen here is that that Mexico will probably get maybe like a win and a draw and finish first, which will be great for them unless someone else finishes second that gets matched up with them. But I think Germany could cause problems for someone else that finishes first. I feel like Germany's going to be the best of the second place teams, and really, like, we're going to have like a really big.
I think that's worst case
round
scenario.
of 16 matchup.
I think Mexico will probably draw in the next game. So not that I think they're going to be too like hungover, but I think
too much partying from beating Germany.
I think they're just going to be too confident from like this win. Hopefully.
Okay. Hopefully.
Sorry, I'm not a Mexico fan. Then moving on, we got Brazil, Switzerland. I don't know what the hell the refs were doing in this game. I know no one's a Neymar fan. No one in the world is a Neymar fan, unless you're Brazilian. But like, the dude get like no calls, man. Just straight savage.
Yeah.
Like
everyone was just kicking him and dragging him back.
Like right when Lichtsteiner was coming off, and I forgot who was coming on, and he's like, "Just foul, dude. They don't care, dude. Just kill him." I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, no, I think maybe there was a card at the very end, but that was pretty much it.
There were more fouls against Neymar in this game than any other previous. I think the previous one was Alan Shearer, like in the 80s or something like that, where he had 11. There was 11 fouls, so like Neymar had 10 fouls that were actually called against him. Like, let alone all the times where he got dragged down and like people grabbing his jersey and stuff like that. Watching some of this game, I still do sometimes feel that Neymar brings it on himself, because it was like 5 minutes into this game and this guy's already like dribbling the ball over, like doing all like just standing there in the middle of midfield, like doing all these fakes, trying to dribble around people, all these fancy flicks, and then like rolling on the ground when he gets fouled or whatever. So I do feel like he brings it upon himself. But this was another game, another big country that just like couldn't seem to get that last pass. They were having no problem getting to the penalty box. Yeah. But once they got there, just like a whole bunch of near misses.
Yeah, I think Willian really didn't have that impact for me at all. I think he got to the ball really well, but I think that might make the change having Douglas Costa out there. Maybe we'll see. I think Fernandinho might get his get the starting on. I think a lot of the teams that have those like hiccups are going to make not big changes, but enough changes to where like, okay, let's see if this works. But I think they'll have better combinations. They know what people are capable of in a way.
Yeah.
Better. Moving on. We got the games that happened today. We got Sweden versus Korea, with Sweden having the penalty in basically what they did against Italy, and feel like organized and
took
they got
their one chance.
Yeah, they got that one chance. That's it. That's all they need. And I think they're a team that like you shouldn't sleep on in the sense of like don't get penalties, don't give up a stupid penalty, and then also don't or be able to probe and like manipulate their shape to where you can score, because Korea wasn't able to do that, obviously.
Yeah. Did you hear the story? The Korean coach that came out and said that he had like in all their game practices and stuff like that, he had all of his players exchange jerseys because he didn't believe that the Europeans could tell them apart by their face alone. So like they were all wearing different numbers and stuff like that as to throw off what he said was like Swedish spies or whatever.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, so in their practices they would all wear different people's jerseys so that like the Swedes didn't know who was who.
Oh, that's weird.
It was like a really strange story that came out after, but obviously it didn't help them.
Yeah, it did not.
Because Sweden still came out with a win. I think that's a big win for them. I think basically ends Korea's World Cup probably.
Yeah, I would say it's going to be very tough because they got Mexico they got Mexico and Germany to play. Yeah. So they're playing Germany next.
So this was the game that they needed to win.
Definitely. So that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But moving on, we got Belgium versus Panama, one of the powerhouse teams that actually showed up to their game. Showed up a little later than what most people probably expected.
Took them a while.
I thought like they were just the start of the game. We're just like, we're gonna score, and there's nothing you can do about it. Kevin De Bruyne, you sent me a clip on Twitter, I think, or something like that. You sent me something.
I don't remember sending you anything, but okay.
I did. Yeah, I think you did. You said like Kevin De Bruyne pass or something like that.
Oh, I just texted you. I didn't send you a clip. I was just texting.
Oh wait,
there was no video.
I thought there was a clip to it. Never mind. Anyways, moving on to that. Very much what Belgium needs to do. I think a lot of the people are like, it's like mixed on this team in the sense of like that players feel like they're underdogs, but like the media thinks like, no, you guys are like the third best team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's kind of weird.
My problem with Belgium is that I don't trust Roberto Martinez. So I feel like if Belgium is going to do anything, it's because there's leadership, like, you know, KDB and Hazard and Alderweireld and people like that are going to like take leadership on the field in the game, and not because there's like a great coach behind them. Although obviously I think Roberto Martinez is better than Wilmots was before. So
he hasn't lost since he's taken the job. So
yeah, but who have they played since he's taken the job?
Well, in a way, but I'm still like, he's organized them enough.
I understand. I think Panama, along with Saudi Arabia, for me, are like so far those are the only two teams that seem like they are out of their depth a little bit.
Yeah, they're like, whoa, this is the World Cup.
Lukaku had 2 goals in this game. One of them should have. KDB deserved the goal just for the pass that he sent into Lukaku. It was like outside of the right foot on the edge of the box, like just like perfect little bend right to Lukaku.
That's all you need.
The same sort of pass I've been watching all this last year. Just like the pass that you can't do in FIFA.
Yeah.
That sort of thing where it's just like, wow, how did he even do that?
This is cheating.
It did take Portugal. It did take Belgium a little while to get going. Like they didn't score in the first half. It was pretty dull first half.
I thought the first like 10-15 minutes though they were firing.
It looked like they were going to score in the first like 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, because they were just getting like second balls or just terrible decisions on passing and stuff.
And like Mertens opened it up. Touches. Mertens opened the scoring like 4 or 5 minutes after halftime with like a great volley from the corner.
Yeah,
and then KDB's pass, and then Lukaku just like destroyed the goalkeeper for the third one, and it was over. So
yeah, but I think
good showing from Belgium.
Yeah, this is when they not that they needed, but like a win that should have happened first off. And this is what other teams should be doing to their less superior opponents.
Yeah,
and I think they're probably going to win the group. Yeah. Moving on to the last game that happened today, You had Harry Kane versus Tunisia. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't just Harry Kane in that game, but it was England versus Tunisia.
Was just Harry Kane.
I mean, he the first goal was just him in the right place, at the right time, in a way.
So what was the second goal?
It was a Harry Kane goal.
It was Harry Kane at the right place at the right time.
But I mean, they got the result. That's what they needed.
They did.
The first goal was, I don't know what the hell Kyle Walker was doing.
Penalty.
Yeah, I was just like, if he didn't touch them, the ball just wouldn't have went over.
It was gonna go over his head, and there was like 4 English defenders. The whole back line was there, and just the one Tunisian guy, and he decides to like slap him in the face.
Yeah,
and then be like, "Oh, I didn't. It wasn't me. There's 50 cameras watching me, but I didn't hit him." Yeah,
I think that. I don't think that shows. I mean, it's just a bad decision. I think Kyle Walker will walk it off. And I think they'll be fine. Honestly, I thought it was a good performance by them. They figured out how to score. That was my thing. Even though it was just set pieces, I think Sterling will have to wake up because I don't know what he had a sitter in the beginning of the game.
Oh, come on. No.
That was
no.
Come on.
That went through 2 Tunisian guys, both of whom completely botched the clearance. So, like, he had no reason to even expect that the ball was going to make it that far. And it took a deflection off the last guy.
Anyways,
he's
used to this. I'm used to watching this on Sterling.
No, that's harsh.
I don't care.
That's really harsh.
Anyways,
I think
he should have scored.
No. And you can't, there was no one that did anything in that game besides Harry Kane. I think John Stones had a good, I think defensively they did okay. I think obviously Kyle Walker gave away the penalty, but like, Kyle Walker's playing out of position. England are playing a back 3, and Kyle Walker's not a center back.
Yeah.
So I kind of find it weird that decision that Gareth Southgate made. But I think going forward, like even when Sterling came off for Marcus Rashford, like Marcus Rashford didn't do anything either. Jesse Lingard, I think Lingard played. He was the best of the starters. I think he actually even had a better game than Harry Kane did. He just didn't get a goal.
Yeah.
He had a couple of like really close chances that just like. Someone got in front of him on a block, like right at the last minute, or like tackled the ball away from him. And then obviously Harry Kane with the 2 goals coming up big for England. There was a lot of controversy when Pep Guardiola called Spurs the Harry Kane team, but in reality, it turns out there are 2 Harry Kane teams. There's an international one and a domestic one. So
did them dirty.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. But yeah, let us know what you guys think. With the first, how the first set of games are going. We got one more day of first day games, which is tomorrow.
The last group, yeah.
Yeah, which is the last group. And then we have the next set of games, and we'll probably be talking about those.
The second round starts tomorrow as well. I think Russia plays tomorrow.
Yeah, Russia plays Egypt tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Anyways. So yeah, let's move on to the second to last topic of the podcast, which is your team.
Anaheim Angels.
Your team. Oh, that says Anaheim.
It does say Anaheim Angels.
Because
that is actually the name of this team.
It's the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna try to inject this and then eventually move it on to its own thing. So I was like, let's just do this now.
Okay.
In a way. So let's talk about the Angels, who are on a losing streak at the moment.
I mean, if you call 2 games a losing streak.
Yeah, I mean, that's two losses. That's a losing streak. 1-2. I mean, you got the Houston Astros with 11-game winning streak right now.
Yeah, who have the Astros played during the 11-game winning streak? They played no teams over 500. And know who what they don't play for the next, 3 weeks? A team over 500.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
So, good for the Astros. I'm not here chasing the Astros. We're chasing the Mariners.
Okay.
If one of the Red Sox or the Yankees were to collapse.
I think the Yankees might have that, or have that ability or that chance.
I agree with
higher
that.
Chance.
Yeah.
Just because Red Sox have better bats.
Yep. I think that this Angels season, it felt different.
In
the beginning with Ohtani and how great he was doing. It's like, oh wow, all of our starting pitching is healthy. And then we lost Matt Shoemaker, but oh well, things happen. And it just it felt different. And then we came to 2 weeks ago, and it's oh, we pulled Ohtani, he has another blister. And the next day it's, oh, actually he has a grade 2 UCL sprain. You're like, wait, what?
Well, we went to that game, the Royals game,
yeah.
and he was either we thought at first I was like he's just getting bad calls, but then we found out like no, it's his arm.
I noticed that his fastball velocity was down.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
it was like mid-90s.
He walked. He just had like 2 straight walks. We were just like, what's going on? Is he gonna die or something? What's going? Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like the next week or so. It feels like this homestand. So they have a 6-game homestand, 3 against the Diamondbacks and 3 against. I want to say the Rays, but that could be wrong. Anyway, it feels like the season is like, depending on how these next like week or two of games, Blue Jays, okay. Depending on how this next week or two of games go, it feels like the season could kind of crumble right here. We have like a couple days ago, the Angels set a franchise record for people simultaneously on the disabled list.
That's good. That's real good.
They lead the league in this. So like there's fit there. What I guess Simmons and Calhoun have now come off the disabled list, but the franchise record was 15, and that included 5 starting pitchers. So with Ohtani out, Richards, Tropiano, Shoemaker, and JC Ramirez. So it's been really frustrating that the same sort of trends are repeating themselves all over again, where a bunch of our starting pitching is hurt. Although our starting pitching has been good,
it's holding
over the last even without Ohtani, it's been good for the last at least a month, I'd say. And Jaime Barea has been really big for us, filling in from the minor leagues. And I was really disappointed to see John Lamb not get the win against Oakland because the bullpen had to pitch at some point, so they blew the game.
Thank you, bullpen.
So they lead the league in blown leads in the 8th inning or later.
So you said last night if the Angels, if the games ended at 7th inning, they would be first place.
If
right now.
baseball was 7 innings, the Angels would have the best record in the league because they have just so many blown leads. It's just ridiculous. But again, it's a problem that we've seen year after year after year. And
we went to the batting cages the other day, and the guy was like, "Yeah, the Angels pitching hasn't been good since Bud Black's
Bud Black left." Yeah, which is probably been about 10 years now. Yeah. I feel like since he left for San Diego.
And then he's where's he at right now?
I want to say Colorado.
Yeah, I think Colorado.
I think there are some good signs offensively. I think obviously Mike Trout is Mike Trout. He's batting in the 330s. He's having the best season of his career. Simmons is back from the DL, which is good for us.
Just avoid stairs.
Yeah, they need a little escalator or something going in and out of the dugout. Calhoun is coming back, and the reports from his rehab assignment have been he's hitting a lot better. I'll believe that when I see it. But Kinsler is the one that has really been hitting well of late.
I feel like every time I watch an Angel game, on accident, he hits a home run. So maybe I should start doing that.
He hits a lot of solo home runs.
Yeah. Well, that's another thing with Trout too. If you look at Trout, he's not even top 5 in RBIs. But
that's because
he's in a lot of solo home runs though.
Right. Yeah. And the reason for that is that the Angels, I think in terms of both on base percentage and in WAR, have the worst production out of the leadoff spot than anyone else in the American League. So
which varies because it's Kozar at one night and then it's Kinsler. Kinsler. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying wrong. I think one night didn't they have Simmons hit first?
I think so. Yeah.
When he was getting really, really hot before he had the injury. So I think that changing, having a defined guy as that leadoff guy, I think that's another problem too. So it's you don't know who it is every night.
Yeah. So I feel like I said this week, in The Last Jedi when BB-8 is holding everything, in the beginning he's holding everything together. There's or that metaphor of plugging all the holes in the boat.
I think of Family Vacation.
We have so many minor leaguers right now that are just plugging holes. Just I'm just waiting for that moment where the dam breaks and the season's over. It hasn't come yet, and so I think it's been a great year for AAA and AA people. If you're in the Angel system, I think that
in the call-ups,
there haven't been too many of them that have just straight up disappointed. I think David Fletcher at third has been okay, not terrible. Jose Fernandez is batting above 300. Hermosillo started off well. He's kind of dwindled a little bit, but both of the starting pitchers that came up, and Barea and Lamb, both pitched really well. So it's just hopefully we can survive the next couple weeks and then get more people back off the DL and have our almost full. Obviously, Ohtani.
Plus, you get the All-Star break as well, so that's an extra week. So making it to that
Yeah,
and I think that stretch, and then we'll see who comes back.
Yeah, so I just really hope that I've been starting to read a couple things about like trades that the Angels should make. Cole Hamels seems to be a name that's coming up a lot, trading for him from Texas since their season's basically over.
Yeah, because I think they're past 40 losses. So.
Yeah. It might even be more than that. Like
I think they're 45.
50.
Yeah, I think they're 45.
I was gonna say the Angels are probably cutting up 40 losses. They're like 38 and 35 or something like that now with the loss of the
34.
38 and 34. Okay.
They're almost at 40 wins.
Yeah. So the problem is though for the Angels is that the Mariners just keep winning.
Yeah,
they did lose 2-3.
22-6 in like the last game besides today.
They have 21 wins this year. That are by one run.
Yeah,
and like that's just absurd. Like they could play this season over again another 100 times, and that would never happen.
I think another thing too is like they're coming up and playing the Yankees.
They have a tough of a game.
Yeah, so
they play the Astros.
Yeah, they just got done with the Red Sox, and I think the Red Sox took 2 games. They did. Them. So stuff like that. I think when they're actually playing against good teams, that's when you're going to see them. And
the one win was like a super late. Like they won 7-6, and they came from behind like in the top of the ninth.
But like that's the thing too. Like you're winning late games.
It feels like at this point, honestly, I know that like the projections, simulations, whatever, the analytics say that the Angels and Mariners are actually like on pace to end up at the same record. Like just even though the Mariners have won as many games as they have at the moment, the projections still have both of them, I think, at 87 wins.
Well, they just have, I think, they have healthy pitching, and their bats that are hitting right now are like, wait, what?
I feel like the Mariners are like the exact opposite of what's happening to the Angels right now. Like everyone is healthy, except for I guess D. Gordon is back now. Obviously, they didn't anticipate losing
Cano.
Robinson Cano with both a broken arm and then a PED suspension. But it feels like everything that can go right for them is going right, and everything that can go wrong for the Angels is going wrong. And it's just like I feel like they're heading in opposite directions. Hopefully the projections pan out and the Angels end up catching them. But at this point, it feels like they have enough. Like they've won enough games at this point that they can like go 500 for the rest of the year and make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might get a run where like Upton and I don't know about who else get hitting well, but like hitting like well to like damn, dude, like a Matt Kemp hitting well. You know how like the Dodgers lineup when you look at like that. I'm saying what I'm saying is like there might be a stretch of games hopefully where your bats are starting to hit where you don't have to rely on your pitching that night, and then once you get to the bullpen, I mean, maybe you score more than 8 runs that night or for a couple of nights maybe, I don't know. That's like what we're gonna have to pay attention to, I guess. If the pitching is gonna last and if the bats are actually gonna hit.
Yeah, we need the starting pitching to keep holding up, and we need like someone in the bullpen to figure out how to like I don't know throw the ball in the strike zone like that. That'd be really nice. Because like the last game yesterday against the A's, like there were like Socha put out 3 pitchers in the bottom of the ninth. Like we don't have a closer. We literally do not have a closer. It's just like whoever's pitching the best over the last week is like, hey, you're gonna close.
Yeah.
So like there were like Parker pitched his very first pitch, gave up a home run, and then walked the next 2 guys, and then Alvarez came in, got an out, walked the next guy,
and then loaded the bases up.
And then Bedrosian came in and he gave up a hit, and like they tied the game, and then they lost an extra. It's just super frustrating to lose games like that. Like there are so many games this year that should have very easily won.
Yeah,
like we should at a minimum, like we should be on par with the Mariners, right? Like if we had won half. Yeah, if we had won half of the games that we've blown this year, like we would be where the Mariners are right now.
Yeah.
So it's super frustrating.
But anyway, we'll be keeping you guys updated with the Angels since we're from Orange County, so that makes sense. It's our local team, and then we'll keep some more updates to fill in segments and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get into the 2-minute minors real quick. I'm gonna talk about World Cup, but going back to the World Cup, but like player I've been impressed by this tournament so far.
I think Lozano from Mexico. He ended up with the goal against Germany. I think that's really big for him, and like he's obviously like kind of feels like the next big thing for them, playing for PSV in the Netherlands.
Yeah, probably gonna move to either Spain or like the Bundesliga or like the Premier League. Depends where he wants to go.
So, like he's played really well. I mentioned we were talking about the Nigeria game. I do not remember his name, but the like young Nigerian goalkeeper. He's only 19. He's been playing really well. Off the top of my head, I can't really think of too many.
Yeah, because like everyone's like really well known. Like Ronaldo had that night, obviously.
Yeah. I think someone that's performing better than people expected maybe is Diego Costa. Like I looking at how he played for Spain against Portugal and like getting those 2 goals and like they were like classic Diego Costa goals where he just like bullied people. Like it's the first goal he literally just bullied both the center backs and then finished in the bottom corner.
Yeah, I don't know what Fonte was doing.
And then the second goal was like just like a tap in basically. But I think the more I see Diego Costa, and Diego Costa struggled when he first started for Spain. And I think the more I see Diego Costa, like the way he's playing now for Spain, the more I wonder like what Chelsea is doing, letting him leave the way that they did.
I don't know.
So I Chelsea's think stupid, good for Diego Costa, like that he's performing well for Spain.
All right, moving on. Last we got the U.S. Open winner, Brock. I forgot how to pronounce
Brooks
that.
Koepka.
Oh, Brooks. Koepka.
Yeah. So he won. This is actually won back-to-back U.S. Opens. He was the U.S. Open winner last year.
He's not number 1 in golf, though, right?
He is not. Dustin Johnson was number 1.
Yeah.
Going into this tournament, and probably might keep it because I think he finished 3rd. But there were a lot of complaints about the conditions of the course and like how the USGA like played it. So Koepka won with a plus. Like he was 1 over par for the tournament, which is every once in a while you get a major championship that ends up like that, where it's just like a really difficult course. But there were a lot of people that were complaining about how the USGA decided, like not only the fact that like they picked that course, but like kind of how they set it up, and like they made it so much more difficult than really needed to be. Although I think the U.S. Open as a spectacle, like good on him for winning 2 in a row, which hasn't been done since I think the 60s. And the only people that have won 2 U.S. Opens, even that list is like Jack, Tiger, Arnold, I think, and like one other person that have even won 2, let alone back to back.
I think the problem with golf right now is like they haven't like changing of the guard. They haven't figured out who that guy is.
I think we're still waiting. I think we've had like Spieth a couple years back won like 3 of the 4 majors. Dustin Johnson has been playing really well. Jason Day. I think like McIlroy and Ricky Fowler never really like lived up to their. I feel like they never really lived up to their potential. Like there's no one consistent. I think it's harsh to expect someone as consistent as like Tiger and Phil, because like they're Hall of Fame golfers.
Yeah.
But like no one's even come like. There's no one that's half of Tiger Woods.
Maybe.
So like
We'll
there's just no one that's consistent, and so like that's why golf's sort of struggling. Like we were talking before we started recording, like you were saying that like you watched just a little bit of it, and like I was planning on watching it, and then I forget what I think the Angels had a day game. So like I watched the game, and then like
you were just watching it through your phone, like on updates.
Right. Yeah. So like I was watching that instead of watching the U.S. Open, and then like by the time like I flipped, I was like, oh, let's check the leaderboard for the U.S. Open, and it was like Tiger Woods was 8 over on the first day, and Phil was 8 or 10 over on the first day, and like so everyone that for me anyway as like just a casual,
they were gonna miss the cutoff.
I was like they're all gonna miss the cut. I was like, oh well, cool. Like good for, and like Dustin Johnson was way out there. He was like 4 up or something like that at the time. So I don't know. Golf is really like crying out for like just one big consistent player.
It would be even cool to even have 2 guys that are just going at it like every so often when they have those events.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have it like every weekend. Almost.
Just about. Not everyone plays every weekend.
Yeah.
But there are tournaments most every weekend.
Yeah. That's 2-minute minors, even though that was more than 2 minutes, but it's okay. But yeah, go ahead and like, share, subscribe. This has been Undrafted Opinions. I've been Richard Rodillo.
I'm Jacob Bullet.
And we'll see you guys later. Deuces.